Hello, hello, hello. Today is the 16th of September 2024. Every couple of weeks we hear from Norm Winski. He's got some important dates to give us today. Norm, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeff. First, I'd like to review what I forecasted when I was last on your show. I believe that was Wednesday, August the 28th. We had a couple of cycles coming up, important cycles coming up there. The night of the 28th, we had Mercury in the sign of Leo turning direct. This is, you might have heard of retrograde. This is the opposite point. From the point of view of the Earth, it appears that about 3 times a year, Mercury turns to go backwards. That's how it appears from Earth due to the relative motion. And then after about 3 weeks, then it stops and goes forward, which is called direct. And that's what we had the night of the 28th, Mercury turning direct. Anytime we have Mercury, we want to look at the grains. And because it was in Leo, we want to look at gold. Leo is connected to the gold. Mercury is connected to the grains. Then the Labor Day weekend, we had a 3-day weekend there. Over the weekend of the 30th, we had the planet Uranus in the sign of Taurus turn retrograde. So we want to look at cattle, copper, cotton. And then over the Labor Day weekend, we also had Pluto, which was already retrograde, had gone into the sign of Aquarius and was backing up into the previous sign of Capricorn. Therefore, Pluto was changing signs. Anytime you have an important change with the planets, when the planets change trend, the markets change trend. So we want to be looking at cocoa, coffee, copper, hogs, and T-bots. Then over the weekend, we also had a new moon in the sign of Virgo. And anytime we have a new moon, we want to look at financials, grains, precious metals, oil. And because it was in Virgo, we were emphasizing soybeans. Okay, here's the first chart. Here's corn. You see on the Mercury direct there, Mercury cycle, we made a nice pullback low and then up and away. Unfortunately, the corn did not care about the moon. Usually like 75% or more of the time, the grains respond to the moon, but not this time. So that was a miss. The green is good, red is bad. Okay, you might see a yellow, which that's a pass. So here's beans pulling back pull back low into Mercury, and then up, and then we gave that 2 possible credits, plus or minus, because we were emphasizing soybeans for the new moon in Virgo, and as you can see, that was a miss also. So here's wheat. Wheat did us no favors. It didn't care about Mercury or the moon, so that's a -2 there for wheat. Things got better after that. Here's cattle. We're making a high there on the Labor Day weekend. The next day made a slightly higher high and then a big down. And here's cotton, right, made your high right on the Labor Day weekend there. We looked to trade on the next morning's opening, and you took a little heat there if you sold there, but then it was down, down, down. Here's cocoa going sideways, so we do nothing. Here's coffee, had a nice decline into Labor Day weekend, and then up, and it doesn't look like that big of a deal. But if you look at the numbers there, coffee is a bit of a beast in terms of the money. Every penny movement here is $375, and it moved like 8 cents. I think that works out to about $3,000 or $4,000 if you multiply 8 times 375. I think maybe $4,000, sir. That's quite a bit of money there. Here's hogs making a high. Well, actually, they made a slightly higher high the next day. But this is, if you sold there and you held on, you would have been pretty happy because you see the hogs then declined and we're declining to looking further our trough. That's a little hog humor there, Jeff. Okay, now the copper is going sideways, so we do nothing. We had 2 points there, but sideways, we don't do anything on sideways. It's Newton's law, for every action and opposite reaction. The opposite of sideways, it's just more sideways. Silver, we had the right day, but if you traded on the opening, you were way too early. It was a huge day on the downside, and that's just too much drawdown, so I had to mark that as a miss. Here's gold. Gold was much friendlier. You pulled back into our Mercury and Leo point there, and then it popped up for quite a bit. I think it was about $40 or so. And then over here, you had a little bit about $30 drawdown, but then you had a big rally after that. So those are 2 winners. Here's crude oil. It did not respond well to the moon. and just kept going. So that's a miss. S&P was, I guess, our best market because you rallied into the Labor Day weekend. And as I think I said back there on the 28th, if we rallied in the Labor Day weekend, we're probably looking at the top. And as you can see there, you sold on the opening. You did very, very well. If you hung in there, you had about a 200 handle drop there on the S&P. If you had big money and a lot of courage, you might have sold 3 contracts on our 3-cycle signal there, and that would have been worth about $30,000. Here's T-bonds making a low there right on the moon, and then up and away. That was very good. You're buying right on the low there on the bonds. Here's the dollar, making a top there on the dollar, and then down. And here's some other foreign currencies. You have the British pound making a low right on the moon. You have the euro making a low right on the moon. You have the yen making a low right on the moon. And we got the Swiss franc making a low right on the moon. If you add up the greens and the reds, you got 18 winners, 7 misses out of 25 for 72%. Now I'm going to talk about something I haven't talked about in many, many moons yet. I'm going to show the folks some how you can trade by the stars intraday during the day, real quick trades. Okay, I send these pages out a month at a time, a month in advance. There's for Friday to September the 13th. This was sent out over the Labor Day weekend, and so you have this for a couple of weeks. I can't change these times. They're all Eastern time, and these are at the planetary symbols. So, for example, that one there, you see the moon with a triangle, man, it means 120 degrees, 1/3 of a circle to the sun. So moon was 120 degrees of sun there. We didn't do that. We looked at it, but it didn't meet the criteria that we have for these to have a good trade, have a good setup. We need a couple of things. We want to see 3 consecutive bars in the same direction. Then if we have that at the time, then we want to see the market closing near the high or the low of the 3 bars. If you're selling, we want to be near the high of the bar in the top third. If you're buying, we want to be in the bottom third of that final bar. And then we also have a trailing stop to get us out, and that is based on the VIX. If we're under 20 on the VIX, which we have been the last few days, then we're looking at a 2-handle trailing stop. So we had 2 times there for the 13th, and down here we have 1024, and we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to look at 208. There's the next page. I have the charts and the prices and the bars. Here we go. Here's 1024. You can see we had 1, 2. Let me get my cursor on there. 1, 2, 3 bars up. You notice we're closing right on near the top of the bar. If you sold there, it did go about 1 handle against you, and then down sharply. And the red arrow here means you're getting out there when it bounced 2 handles off the low. So that get you out at 83.75, and so that's good for plus 1075 handles in 4 minutes. All right, here's the next one. We had that was the 1024, right? This is the 208, and all these are in Eastern time. And you can see here, I think we had 4 bars here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you notice again, it's closing right near the top of the bar. I think it might have gone 2 ticks against your maximum, and then it was down, and then here's your reference point for your stop loss, or your trailing stop, and the low was at 94.50, so you were out at 96.50, and so that works out to plus 475 in 5 minutes. So you got a total there on 2 trades of 1550, and there were no losing trades. That was the only trade you did all day. And here's the great news for a lot of the folks. You don't have to sit there and stare at the screen all day. All you have to do is show up at these times a few minutes ahead of time. I have a formula for the stop loss, for the trailing stop loss based on the VIX. So you look at the VIX, you write that down, and you can see if you're setting up or not. Sometimes it's choppy. If it's choppy sideways, mark that. You'll look at it for a minute or two and realize nothing's going to happen. You're not going to do anything, and you go back to whatever you were doing. So it's a very low stress, low maintenance type system. All right, so now looking ahead here, we got something really, really big coming up Tuesday night. We have a full moon lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse is a special kind of full moon, and it will be at perigee. In other words, we have 3 lunar cycles all converging for Tuesday night, overnight there. And so we want to pay attention to financials, grains, precious metals, and oil. And then the night of the 19th, we have Neptune, perigee. Perigee is the closest to the Earth, and that Neptune is oil. So we got 2 themes here for oil. So something really big could be happening in the oil market here over the next few days. And of course, stocks potentially respond to all events. So just because I didn't mention the stocks specifically doesn't mean that we should leave them out. We got to include the stocks, and financials, of course, are also bonds and currencies. Okay, so here is the thing. I've been doing this about 50 years now. I'm a former Chicago floor trader, traded on the CBOE options exchange and the Chicago Board of Trade over a 12-year period, and this is pretty much what I do. And I've studied all these things, by the way: Gann, Elliott Wave, Astro, physics, astrology. I have a background in music and so forth. And here's how you get a hold of me. I can send you some free videos or talk to you, and we can work out a plan that maybe help your trading. Here, call me in beautiful Naples, Florida at 239-594-3939. That's 239-594-3939. Or you can email me at nwinski@yahoo.com. Or you can also call me on Skype at that same address. Looking forward to helping some of the folks there, Jeff, and everybody. Have a great day, and watch out for the lunar eclipse at perigee. And that's, the next day we got the big Fed announcement, so I'm expecting some volatility here over the next few days.
Norm, thanks for all your help. We are going to see what happens after tomorrow's close. Wouldn't surprise me if you were right again, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much, Jeff.